Everyone fantasizes of making a life-changing discovery. Some people are fortunate enough to discover extraordinary artifacts in their own backyard. Others are even luckier, discovering hidden wealth in their yard. People who had just walked out their back door made the following discoveries. Number 9. A tunnel to the Pyramid of Khufu. Neji discovered enormous stone slabs in his backyard while illegally digging in 2014. He discovered a 10-meter, 33 feet, underground passage. Neji's discovery was reported to Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities. They dispatched archaeologists to his residence, who unearthed the mythical causeway leading to the Pyramid of Khufu, the oldest of the 3 Giza pyramids. For more than 30 years, archaeologists have been looking for this tunnel. Herodotus claimed to have visited it in the 5th century BC and wrote about it in his histories. The passage was fenced and covered in reliefs according to Herodotus, but before Neji's discovery, only minor portions of the causeway had been discovered. There is a link between the Khufu Pyramid Complex and a lost temple along the Nile River. Archaeologists believe the temple may be buried beneath the settlement of Nazlet El Salmon, based on the discovery of the causeway. Number 8. World War II airplane. Daniel Rahm Christiansen, then 14 years old, wanted a topic for a World War II report in 2017. Klaus, his father, joked that he should go find the plane that allegedly crashed in the field behind their house. Klaus' grandfather said that a plane had crashed there in November 1944, but his family was skeptical. Daniel made the decision to search the area. He and his father had taken along a metal detector. When it began to beep, they were taken aback. The duo began digging, but soon realized that they needed to dig deeper. They hired an excavator from a neighbor and dug down 4 to 6 meters, 13 to 20 feet, to find the remains of a plane. Thousands of bits of the plane were eventually discovered by the duo. The pilot's bones and personal possessions were then uncovered. The Christiansens made contact with World War II historians as well as the Danish government. The bones were taken by Danish police for examination. Number 7. Rare whale fossil. Gary Johnson discovered a whale fossil on his property in 1978. He contacted a nearby museum, but they were unable to relocate the massive fossil. Gary's discovery went unnoticed until 2014. Johnson called the National History Museum after another whale fossil was discovered nearby and excavated by the group. They were intrigued, and they set out to find his fossil. The museum collaborated with search and rescue volunteers from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, who utilized the dig as a training exercise. They used pulleys and a steel trolley to lift the fossil, and the rock it was lodged in from the backyard ravine. It was over 450 kilograms in weight. They sent the bone to a museum, where it would be kept in a study collection. The fossil is highly rare and dates from 16 to 17 million years ago. Only about 20 baleen whale fossils have been discovered worldwide. Number 6. Silver bars. James Sivers was working on a house improvement project in 2010 when his shovel collided with something. Sivers knelt and took a tube from his pocket. There were 18 silver bars within. In his yard, he began doing the chicken dance. He went inside to examine the silver and discovered that each one was worth around $2,600, totaling nearly $46,000. Sivers began to question why the silver had been buried. The date on the container was 1982. Clint Nelson had built the Idaho home and was living there in 1982, according to Sivers. Nelson was contacted by Sivers, who informed him of his discovery. Nelson told Sivers to keep the silver, even though he promised to return it. Sivers was initially ecstatic, but he concluded that splitting the bars with Nelson was the best option. Sivers drove to Utah with all of the silver in case Nelson decided he wanted it all. Nelson accepted half of the offer. He explained that he was a businessman who had been paid in silver by someone. He buried the silver bars in his lawn when the price of silver dropped. Nelson had retrieved 4 more tubes, but one had escaped his notice. Number 5. A bag full of cash. Wayne Savage ventured into his Chicago garden in 2011 in search of some greens. Instead, he discovered a large sum of money in a bag. He handed the suitcase over to his father. His discovery did not sit well with either of the Savages. They were concerned that the money came from a bank robbery, and they didn't want to be held responsible. The two phoned the cops, who came to the house and took the cash and another bag they had discovered in the garden. When the officers counted the cash, they learned that the Savages had found $150,000. The money was tracked back to Dolores Johnson, the Savage's old neighbor. She had thrown away the money because she thought it was cursed. Johnson died shortly after burying the cash, and her daughter, Diane Howe, arrived to claim it. In 2013, Savage and Howe went to court to decide how to split the money. Savage died of diabetes-related complications before the verdict could be reached. When his father learned that his son had died, he went into hard arrest. The money was distributed between the two families by the judge. The first half went to Savage Kid, and the second half to Howe. Number 4. Viking Treasure. Tage Pedersen unearthed a pair of old coins in his garden in 2007 after a heavy downpour. He contacted local archaeologists, who discovered another 67 coins on his property. 2 of the coins were particularly difficult to come by. One has never been discovered in Sweden before, while the other is only the second of its kind. From the late 900s to the early 1000s, the majority of the coins were German, English, and Arabic currency. The money depicts how the Vikings traveled over Europe and beyond, trading and looting. The Vikings went south on Russia's rivers to reach the Middle East, and the Islamic coins are the result of their considerable trade. The English coins, on the other hand, are most likely tribute money paid to keep the Vikings at bay. The coins were discovered 400 meters, 1,300 feet, away from a historic Viking encampment. According to researchers, these boards served as safe deposit boxes, with the money being hidden in the ground until it was needed. Number 3. Accurate Hoard. In 2012, Owen Johnson was investigating a hole excavated by workers in his garden when he discovered a ceramic pot buried beneath the mud. He attempted to dig the pot out, but it broke. Like a slot machine, gold and silver coins poured out. Johnson had uncovered nearly 600 coins from the mid-17th century, as well as a ring with the inscription, "Remember me when you see this." During the English Civil War, the plunder was most often buried. Johnson lived at Pontefract, which was a bastion of the Royalists during the 1600s. A military garrison was nearby, and the loot was most likely hidden by a Royalist who was afraid it would be stolen. The coins had a face value of £85 and 12 shillings, enough to pay for a Civil War soldier's salary for 5 years. In 2013, the hoard was appraised at £54,492, and the Wakefield Council purchased it. The Pontefract Museum has it on exhibit. Number 2. 650-year-old treasure. Andreas K. was digging in his backyard when he discovered several centuries-old pieces of jewelry and other valuable items. Andreas thought the objects were worthless because they were caked with dirt. He put the things in a box in his basement for 2 years, only to find them again in 2011 when he was cleaning out the cellar. The soil had dried and some of the dirt had crumbled, revealing the rich metal and diamonds beneath. Andreas shared photos of his discovery on the internet. He was persuaded to register his find to the Austrian Federal Monument Agency by an amateur archaeologist. The agency staff were ecstatic, describing the jewelry as one of Austria's most spectacular medieval treasure discoveries. Andreas had found almost 200 rings, brooches, and other decorative artifacts, many of which were embellished with pearls and fossilized coral. Andreas chose to keep the relics, with the intention of loaning the collection to an Austrian museum. Number 1. Saddle Ridge Hoard. In their backyard, in 2013, John and Mary were walking their dog when they came upon the top of a decomposing canister peeking out of the dirt. With a stick, they dug it out and carried it inside. When the pair opened the container, they discovered a batch of discs that had been soiled. The discs were cleaned and discovered to be $20 gold coins from the 1890s. John and Mary dashed back to where they had discovered the canister. They looked about and discovered 7 additional cans. The pair rummaged through their belongings. They realized they'd found over 1,000 coins. The couple reburied the coins to conceal them and hired Don Cadgen, a coin dealer, to examine them. He understood John and Mary had discovered a fantastic discovery. They discovered a total of 1,427 coins manufactured between 1847 and 1894. Some of the coins were exceptionally uncommon, and a dozen of them are among the best examples of their sort still in existence. The collection was estimated to be worth $11 million. That's all for today. See you next time with a lot more. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.